Hello, my name is Rina Zavala, and this is my presentation for Business 343 regarding case number 6 on union grievances. In this presentation, I will be assuming the role of an HR director in the middle of a grievance dispute. I will give you an introduction and a summary of the case, followed by a review of company policies. Lastly, I will make my decision as an HR director and give you the explanation behind my decision. We will also consider other forms of conflict and grievance resolution. Moving on to the introduction of this case, the case consists of an employee and their union filing a grievance against Sega Food Services. Now, John Arnett is a truck driver at Sega Food Services. John Arnett is also a member of the union Teamster Local 444. John's regular work schedule is 4 10-hour days, Tuesday through Friday. Holiday pay policy states that if a holiday falls on an employee's non-working day, the holiday is to be observed on the next working day. Labor Day in this case fell on a Monday, which would make John's day of observance on Tuesday. Now on Tuesday at 11 p.m., John requested a personal day for Wednesday. Upon the request of this day, John received approval for the day off. Now, it was not approved beforehand by the supervisors, but because regular personal day policies, the company was able to grant John the day off. Personal day practices required that John call at least 4 hours prior to the start of a shift to request a day off. Sega Food Services ended up not paying John for the Labor Day holiday, as they stated that John did not comply with the regular requirements of the collective bargaining agreement. Moving on to the next slide, we'll see the conflict arise. In this specific case, John decided to contact the union, and the union went ahead and filed a grievance requesting that John receive pay for the holiday. Now, when a dispute occurs in a unionized company, the union will raise a grievance on behalf of their employees. Studies also suggest that incidents of grievable events are often high in the workplace. Now, the company policies on our next slide here. Article 7, Holidays, Section 7.03, holiday pay will be granted as long as conditions are met. The following conditions on Section B are highlighted. Employees are required to work their scheduled workday in its entirety, the last workday before and the first day after the holidays. Now, an exception may be made to this if there's a proven sickness or an injury. Their requirements may also be waived with advance approvals from the employee's manager. Article 23, which is the leave of absences, Section 283.06, employees will be allowed 4 personal days for each contract year. Leave may not be carried over from the previous year, and unused days will be paid to the employee. Now, that is the current policies for Sega Food. Now, moving on to the next slide, we see the HR director's decision and the decision that I have made. According to the company practices in Article 7, Section 7.03b, John is not entitled to receive the holiday pay. To receive the holiday pay, John had to work on Wednesday, or he had to have received approval prior to take that day off by his supervisors. Or lastly, another option would have been for John to show proof of illness or some type of injury. Our next slide continues to explain my reasoning. Employees are well aware of the conditions and requirements needed to receive certain benefits, such as holiday pay. John should have received a copy of the collective bargaining agreement from the union as well as from the HR manager before, in the middle of the contract renewal. Now again, after this case, John will be provided with another one for his review. Sega Food Services is completely within the terms of the collective bargaining agreement, which continues to make my decision. We will not pay John for this holiday. Now, on the next slide, we'll just briefly discuss the director of HR's role. While it is up to HR to supervise and work with the employees, it is not fair to tolerate direct disrespect for the company's policies. It will be important to point out that policy to the union, the policies that we reviewed during this presentation. It will be important to also point out our grievance history and show how we've handled grievance in the past before, how we work with the employees, as well as how often, grievance and disputes arise. Sometimes the resolution to any grievance, unfortunately, is left at the maturity of the parties' relationship. So we will hope that our continued relationship with the union, their continued work with the employees, will speak louder than the specific case. Now, in efforts to maintain this good relationship with the union, as well as the employee, we could possibly, as HR, extend an opportunity to the employee to utilize a vacation day to substitute for his holiday day, so which would allow him to receive pay for this day and obtain a full check. Now, our next slide will briefly discuss other methods of resolution. Now, if your union insists on having John receive payment for the holiday, the HR director must prepare for other resolutions. Common methods of resolution for grievances raised by unions and non-union members as well includes mediation and arbitration. These things we could consider if we see that the union is failing to understand our stance and is failing to see that John is not within accepted company policies of the bargaining agreement. Next is just my references. On this case, I do not believe that the union has a strong case against us, against Sage Food, because, again, John failed to comply with the regular, stated, and outlined policies. Thank you for your time.